This one, folks, is a Waco VPF-7. Has the shroud off there between the wheels. Get a good look at all those cylinders, cylinder heads. Very cool. Here's a Fairchild 24K. It says it used for business in the late 30s. And again, right inside. This is a Howard GH2 Nightingale. It's on loan from the National Museum of the Marine Corps. Used by the Marine Corps to fly personnel. Not only were these used to fly personnel on occasion, but also as air ambulances and as trainers. Pretty cool. Looking here at the tail, and the tail gunner's position of a B-25 Mitchell. Now this Mitchell, kind of special. It's set up with a whole lot of guns. And so if you like World War II aircraft, armed with a lot of M2s, and a thing or two other than the M2s, I'm going to take a look. Now we've just seen 250s in the tail. We have one out each side right here, the waist gunners. Little different look. Back towards the tail. They didn't have a ball turret. These are smaller, lighter aircraft. Beside me is a trainer for a top turret gunner. A training module. See here where the gunner would sit in here, and he'd operate the electric turret, defending the aircraft, looking towards the tail all around, and of course you could spin side to side or forwards, just like the one up there on the top of the B-25 Mitchell. The bomb bay doors are open. It has one bomb bay and that's it. Wheels. Take a little closer look. Okay, covers are open of the Wright Romeo 2600 twin Cyclones. The cowl flaps are open. See these little vanes? They can close those during flight to allow the heat to stay inside the engines at higher altitudes and keep things nice and warm on the ground. At landing and so forth, they open those cowl flaps, cools off the engine. These are air-cooled engines, just like a Harley Davidson. You can see the jugs right there. And this is a twin cyclone. There's two rows of cylinders. You see the twin rows. All right. Take a look at the props. They are controllable. They're variable pitch props. Again, on the top, you have the top gunner. This aircraft is set up for ground attack, and so on either side of the nose there are two more 50 caliber machine guns. When this was going in for ground attack, strafing runs, the gunner on the top would swing straight forward, giving two 50s forward. Then there's two on either side of the aircraft. Goes four 50s firing forward. Also, there could be installed a 75 millimeter cannon, which would be positioned about right here. It could be fired, okay? And then in the nose of the aircraft, there's another 8 50 caliber machine guns. Just like that. So when you count them, There's 2 on the top. That makes 10. 2 on either side, or if you're from uptown, either side. That's 14 forward-firing 50 caliber machine guns. And then as they would fly over, say, the dock where it was connected onto the shore, they dropped their bombs. A couple 500s, maybe 6 100-pounders or 8 100-pounders. And then as they flew by, you had the 2 waist gunners back here on either side with 50 caliber machine guns like we looked at earlier, and the tail gunner with 2 that would give them a little going away gift there as they flew off into the distance. And these craft would come in like this. Oh, flights of 16, sometimes flights of as many as 30 would come in and raid different Pacific Island areas and build up areas of the Japanese back in the time, in the day. All right, take a look at some other aircraft. Right back. Okay, this is the Allison V-1710. These were used in the P-40 Warhawk that you see in the 2 parishes up front. They were used in the beautiful, my favorite airplane, the P-38 Lightning, and other aircraft, including the P-39 Air Cobra. Okay, many of these were loaned to the Russians during the war to fight the Germans on the Russian front. It's one of the engines right here. Broke down for much closer viewing when they had the tractor pulls and so forth back in the 60s and 70s. Even in the 80s you hear about, and this tractor is powered by twin Allison aircraft engines. And also like the Miss Budweiser and offshore racing boats were powered by these as well. Very, very powerful. We'll talk about this aircraft in a second. But here, some shells, World War II ammunition that you can see. The middle one, the 37 millimeter cannon shell. Okay, see the 20 millimeters there on either side and the 50 calibers. All right, this aircraft right here fired to 37, and it fired to 37 from a cannon that ran underneath the seat of the pilot and out through the hub and the center of the engine and out through the spinner hub on either side and the wings. And twin 50 caliber machine guns. The engine is in the rear, I should say, of this aircraft, making it easy for that cannon barrel to run up through the mechanism. It's quite a design. And as you can see, there's the Allison right there. Open cockpit. You can see the intake manifold right there on the top of the aircraft. Really, really cool. Behind me, something that's really cool too. We had these in West Germany. This is a little older version. We had the flat glass tow Cobras. That's a Cobra gunship. It's an AH-1 Juliet, I believe. Yep, it's a Juliet. It's a J. It's a C Cobra. Has the M193 3-barreled 20 millimeter Gatling gun. And of course, ours would be armed with up to 16 tow missiles, or folding fin aerial rockets, or combinations of both. Our ships in West Germany had we carried 8 tow and 2 rocket pods, and of course the 20 Mike. Very narrow, very fast and nimble, and the ones that they have today literally leave these in the dust. They still make the Cobra, and it is far advanced. A couple steps away from the Apache. Very cool. This device on the top that looks like an antenna is a wire cutter. Okay? And there should be one down here on the chin too. We'll have to look. But if this gets in the telephone wires or any type of cabling, the cables come through and it right into there and cuts the cable right in two. Aircraft will not be tied up like that. There's the gunner's sight, pilot booth in the rear, both front and rear. Individuals could pilot the aircraft, but the main pilot was in the back. You can see the armored plating here around the sides of his seat. There's some armor right here too. Little things into the guns. Alright, we'll be right back. Well, for all you Top Gun fans, this is what the arresting hook looks like, folded up beneath the F-14 Tomcat. Looks like a Phoenix missile up there ahead. We'll take a look. Be right back. The Tomcat's powered by these TF-30 P-14 turbojets. And here's one of them right here. Quite the landing gear here now. This looks like a Sparrow missile, but it might be a Harm. I wish they would maybe tell us up here. This right here, of course, is a Phoenix. Pretty sure, as with these aircraft, were manufactured to carry and fire long range anti-aircraft missiles, defending the aircraft carrier and not allowing any aggressors within 100 miles of the aircraft carrier. The 14s would fly out to where those Russians or the Chinese or whoever were coming in on that carrier group, and a couple of 100 miles out they'd fire those Phoenix missiles and hopefully take out the aggressors. Here is one of the General Electric M61 Alpha 1 Vulcan cannons, 20 millimeter. Fire between 4,000 and 7,200 rounds per minute. We'll look at the mechanism. We have a round right here of 20 millimeter. You can get a look at it. Loading area. The barrels. Right there's the gun port. These only fire one barrel at a time, generally the barrel at the 12 o'clock position. And so that's all that needs to be presented out of this firing port. Okay, be right back. Little pitot tube angle. Well, my grandson wanted to take a ride. Well, there he goes right there. He has a YouTube channel himself. He's having a great time. Be right back. Here's Amelia Earhart, showing a young fledgling the basics of flight with a flight simulator that she built. Amelia style. Says she loved to spark a passion for flight in the hearts of young people. Here she demonstrates flight basics to budding future flyers. This is a really cool replica of Amelia's training device. Really cool. You know something? I understand every bit of that. I got a few hours myself. Right back. We can never forget ladies like my mother, my aunt, that worked in the plants and driving the vehicles to the ports of embarkation and so forth. Rosie the Riveters. Here they are. At the beginning of the war, my mother built carburetors, actually fuel injectors, I should say, not carburetors, but fuel injectors for aircraft at, I believe it was General Motors in Grand Rapids. And then she started driving vehicles and delivering Army trucks and all kinds of heavy equipment out to New Jersey. They're loaded on ships and taken across the Atlantic through the wolf packs to England. All right, right back. On this side of the Quonset hut again, getting into that big, beautiful B-17. Now the herder B-17 is over in the other building. We're going to look at that a little later. This is a whole different mural. Be right back. That's right, the ladies did it. Put all these planes together, many of them, working night and day, and they held together too. Here's proof right there. Behind me, some German proof. Now this is a Hispano. It is a Spanish-made Messerschmitt 109, licensed to be manufactured in Spain. And this was actually built in 1958 for the movie The Battle of Britain. In 1969, has twin cannon, German 20s, one in each wing, twin 8mm 7.92 machine guns there above the cowling. Known as the Bouchons, but it's an ME 109. Again, behind me is a V2. What do you think of this? I'm sorry, V1. V2s, they don't have one here yet. These were the famous buzz bombs, or flying bombs, launched off the rails in northern Germany and northern France, flying until the pulse jet engines would give out, and then they would just fall to the ground, the warhead detonating. Next came the V2s. V stood for vengeance. Vengeance weapon. Vengeance weapon 1 and then vengeance weapon 2. Next to that vengeance weapon was one of ours. The Jug. The P-47 Thunderbolt. Today's A-10 Thunderbolt 2 is named after the Jug. 8 50 caliber machine guns, hefty bomb load, immense propeller. Republic P-47 Delta. 2,430 max horsepower. These planes would fly over 400 miles an hour. There's one of the aerial rockets. Above on the ceiling is a reproduction model about a half size, about a 1/2 size P-38 Lightning. That's pretty cool. Back here, Curtiss Wright XP-55. The Ascender. Engine in the rear, pushing the aircraft. canards. These could be machine gun ports. Haven't read up on the Asunder a whole lot. They haven't had this out too long. Stalls prohibited below 20,000 feet. Well, survived 80 combat missions. Well, I guess very interesting. This is meant to look like the deck of an aircraft carrier. You can see the tower and then all the aircraft spotted here on the deck. You're looking at a little later. The deck gun right there. The rear of the Asunder. The naval deck gun. Appears to be 76 millimeter. I believe that she is. All right. That'll throw a spiral at you. To shorten this video a little bit, we're going to call this one Part 1. I'm going to start Part 2 in a minute. We'll take over the other half of this building and all of the rebuild building over on the actual airport. And we'll be right back.